Commander Ellis Grant stood tall on the bridge of the Earth ship Defender. Today was supposed to be special. After years of sending signals into space, humans had finally met aliens called the Zentari. Both sides agreed to meet and talk about peace. "Sir, the Zentari ship is ready for our guests," said Officer Wendy Miller, looking up from her screen. Grant nodded. "How are the children doing?" "They're excited, sir. Ms. Rivera has them lined up and ready." Grant smiled. Bringing the elementary school students had been a good idea. What better way to show the Zentari that humans came in peace than by introducing them to children? The school group was touring the ship as part of a special program before they would briefly meet the alien delegates. The main screen showed the Zentari ship, large and angular with strange blue lights. General Vextar, the alien commander, had seemed reasonable in their earlier talks. His scaly blue skin and 4 eyes were different, but his desire for peace seemed real. "Open the channel," Grant ordered. The screen changed to show General Vextar. The alien general bowed slightly. "Commander Grant, we are ready to continue our diplomatic talks." "Excellent, General. Our diplomatic team is." Alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. Officer Miller shouted, "Sir, a small Zentari ship just launched from their main vessel." Grant turned to the screen. "General Vextar, explain this." The alien's 4 eyes widened in what seemed like genuine surprise. "I gave no orders for a launch. Let me check." More alarms sounded. "Security breach in Section 7. Someone yelled. "That's where the children are." Grant's blood ran cold. Section 7, where 23 elementary school children were touring with their teacher. "All security teams to Section 7 now," he ordered, already running toward the elevator. By the time Grant reached Section 7, it was too late. The hallway was filled with stunned crew members and a crying Ms. Rivera. "They took them," she sobbed. "They stunned me and took 5 of the children." Grant grabbed his communicator. "Bridge, status of that Zentari ship." "It's heading for the edge of the system at high speed, sir. They'll reach jump distance in 2 minutes." Grant ran back to the bridge, his heart pounding. On the main screen, General Vextar looked agitated. "Commander Grant, I did not authorize this. Lieutenant Krall has gone rogue with that scout ship." "They took our children, General," Grant shouted. 5 of our children." The bridge crew fell silent. Taking children was unthinkable. Grant stared at the screen. "Their names are Lily Martinez, twins Peter and Paul Baker, Katie Johnson, and Owen Phillips. They are between 8 and 12 years old. They are not soldiers. They are not diplomats. They are children." General Vextar's skin paled to a lighter blue. "Children? Young ones. Krell took your young." "Yes, and you will return them." The alien general began giving rapid orders to someone off-screen in his own language. When he turned back, his 4 eyes showed what Grant recognized as fear. "Commander, I am trying to contact Krall's ship. This was not authorized. You must believe me." On another screen, Officer Miller tracked the small Zentari ship as it reached jump distance and disappeared in a flash of light. "They've entered hyperspace, sir," she said quietly. "We've lost them." Grant turned back to face General Vextar. The room temperature seemed to drop as he spoke. "General, I don't care if this was authorized or not. I want those children back, alive and unharmed." "I understand. I will." "No, you don't understand," Grant interrupted. His voice was deadly calm now. "Those are human children. You have no idea what you've just done. There is no corner of this galaxy where your Lieutenant Krall can hide. We will find him. We will find our children, and if they are harmed." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. The look on General Vextar's face showed that the alien understood perfectly. The first contact between humans and aliens, meant to start an era of peace, had just become the beginning of something very different. General Vextar paced in his command room. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme stress among the Zentari. Around him, His officers worked frantically at their stations, trying to locate Lieutenant Krall's ship. "Any contact yet?" Vextar asked his communications officer. "No, General. Krall is not answering our calls." Vextar slammed his three-fingered hand on the console. "Keep trying. This is a disaster beyond measure." An older Zentari officer approached Vextar. Commander Zell was the oldest member of Vextar's staff and had served in the military for over 70 years. "General, why are you so worried? They are just humans. Yes, taking their young without permission was wrong, but surely their response will be manageable." Vextar turned to face the older officer. "You don't understand, Zell. There are stories, ancient texts from the time before we reached the stars. They speak of a species called the Destroyers who seemed peaceful until their offspring were threatened. Then they would destroy entire worlds." "Surely those are just old stories to scare young Zentari," Zell replied. The communication console beeped. "General, we have contact with Krall's ship." The main screen lit up to show Lieutenant Krall. The young Zentari officer had ambition written all over his face. "Lieutenant Krall, return to base immediately." "That is a direct order," Vextar shouted. Krall smiled. "I cannot do that, General. The opportunity was too perfect. These human young will help us understand how they develop so quickly." "What do you mean?" Vextar asked, though he feared he already knew the answer. "The humans went from primitive technology to space travel in just a few hundred years. It took our species thousands of years to do the same. There must be something special about how they develop and learn. Their young will give us that answer." Behind Krall, Vextar could see one of the human children, a small female with dark hair, watching from what appeared to be a holding cell. She wasn't crying. She was studying everything around her with intelligent eyes. "Krall, you fool. Return those children immediately. You don't understand what you've done." "I understand perfectly, General. I will bring the Empire valuable research. The High Command will reward me, not punish me." The screen went dark as Krall cut the connection. Vextar turned to his tactical officer. "Show me the human fleet." The screen changed to show the Earth ships. What Vextar saw made his heart beat faster. Every human ship was moving with purpose. More ships were joining them. Their formation was perfect, like hunters preparing for a chase. "They're mobilizing their entire fleet," the tactical officer said quietly. "And look at this. They're sending signals to all their colonies and outposts." Another officer spoke up. "General, we're detecting energy readings from Earth that we've never seen before. They're activating systems they never showed us during our talks." Vextar stared at the screen. They were hiding their true capabilities from us all along. At that moment, a message came through from the human ship. Commander Grant's face appeared on screen. His expression had changed completely from the diplomatic smile Vextar had seen earlier. Now his eyes were cold and determined. "General Vextar, we have activated the Stellar Defense Protocol. All human ships across 3 sectors are converging. We will find our children. You have 6 hours to return them before we begin our search operation. If your people help us, we might still avoid war. If you protect Krall, we will consider it an act of war by your entire species." The message ended. Vextar looked around at his officers, who now understood the seriousness of the situation. "Contact the High Command immediately," Vextar ordered. "Tell them that Lieutenant Krall has potentially started an interspecies war that we cannot win." As his officers rushed to obey, Vextar looked again at the screen showing the human fleet. They moved like predators, efficient and deadly. The old legends were true, he whispered to himself. "We have awakened the destroyers." Admiral Susan Clark stood before a room full of Earth's top military leaders. Her gray hair was pulled back tightly, and her eyes showed no emotion. On the large screen behind her were pictures of the 5 kidnapped children. Lily Martinez, age 10, Peter and Paul Baker, age 8, Katie Johnson, age 12, Owen Phillips, age 9, she said, pointing to each child's picture. These children were taken 4 hours ago by a Zentari officer named Lieutenant Krull. She clicked a button, and the screen changed to show a map of space with glowing dots representing ships. Every ship we have is now moving toward Zentari space, but we need a smaller, faster team to get our children back quickly. A door opened, and 3 people walked in. They stood at attention before Admiral Clark. "These are the people I've chosen for our rescue mission," she said. "Frank Diaz, former Navy SEAL and father of 2. Sandra Mitchell, intelligence specialist and mother of 3. Ethan Peterson, combat medic and father of 1. The 3 soldiers nodded as their names were called. "Each of you knows what it means to be a parent," Admiral Clark continued. "Each of you has the skills we need. Your mission is simple: find the children and bring them home." "Any questions?" Frank Diaz stepped forward. "What do we know about where the children are being held?" "Not much yet, but Dr. Winters might have something that can help." As if on cue, a door on the other side of the room opened. A man with wild gray hair and glasses hurried in, carrying a tablet computer. "Dr. Alan Winters, head of our Advanced Technology Division." Admiral Clark introduced him. Dr. Winters didn't waste time with greetings. "We have a ship ready for you. It's our new stealth model that the Zentari don't know about. More importantly, we've modified it with experimental tracking technology." He showed them something on his tablet. "This will let you follow Krull's ship through hyperspace. It's technology we've been developing for years, but kept secret from our new friends." "How does it work?" Sandra Mitchell asked. "It tracks tiny particles that ships leave behind when they jump through hyperspace, like following footprints in snow. We can follow exactly where Krull's ship went." In another room of the same building, Maria Martinez sat with her hands tightly clasped. Her daughter Lily was among the missing children. Next to her sat Daniel Phillips, father of Owen. Other parents were there too, their faces showing fear and anger. A female officer entered the room. "The Admiral would like to speak with you all." Admiral Clark walked in and stood before the parents. Her face softened slightly. "I know you're worried. I would be too. But I want you to know that every resource we have is being used to find your children." "What are the aliens doing to them?" Maria asked, her voice shaking. "We don't know for certain, but the Zentari leader, General Vextar, seems genuinely horrified by what happened. He's cooperating with us." Daniel Phillips stood up. "What can we do to help?" Admiral Clark looked at him with respect. "Right now, the best thing you can do is help us understand your children. Their habits, their skills, anything that might be useful. The rescue team needs to know everything about them." The parents nodded, determination replacing some of their fear. Meanwhile, on the other side of the base, Frank, Sandra, and Ethan were boarding the stealth ship. The pilot, Lieutenant Nancy Weber, greeted them as they entered. "Ship is ready and fully loaded," she said. "Dr. Winters' tracking system is online." Frank took one last look at Earth through the window before the ship's door closed. "Let's go get those kids," he said, his voice quiet but filled with purpose. The stealth ship lifted off silently, heading toward the stars. The hunt had begun. Lieutenant Krull watched the 5 human children through a viewing screen. They were in a large room with simple beds and a table. He had expected them to be crying or hiding, but instead they sat together, talking quietly. "Fascinating," he said to his science officer. "They organized themselves even without adults present." The science officer nodded. The oldest female, Katie, appears to be leading them. On the screen, 12-year-old Katie Johnson sat with her arm around the youngest children, the Baker twins. Lily Martinez and Owen Phillips sat across from them, drawing on some paper that had been provided. "What are they drawing?" Krull asked. The science officer zoomed in the camera. "It appears to be a map of our facilities, sir." Krull's eyes widened. How could they know the layout? "They've only been in this room." The small male, Peter Baker, was watching when we brought them in. Perhaps he has good memory. Krull leaned closer to the screen. "Begin the first tests tomorrow." I want to understand how their minds work. Meanwhile, in another part of the room that Crowell couldn't see through the camera, Peter Baker was working on something. His small fingers moved quickly as he connected wires he had pulled from a toy the aliens had given him. "How's it going?" Katie whispered. "Almost done," Peter replied. "At science camp last summer, we learned how to make simple circuits. I think I can disable that camera." In the main conference room of the Zentari High Command, General Vextar stood before the council of 9 elderly Zentari. They looked at him with disapproval. "You mean to tell us," said High Commander Draz, "that we should be worried about these humans because they are angry about a few young ones?" Vextar took a deep breath. "High Commanders, these aren't just any species. I've been studying their history since this incident began. Let me show you." He activated a screen showing Earth history. Throughout their entire recorded history, when their young are threatened, they respond with overwhelming force. No negotiation, no restraint. The screen showed images from human history: armies marching, ships sailing, planes flying. They crossed oceans and mountains, fought through deserts and jungles, all to protect their children. And now they have starships. High Commander Draz waved his hand dismissively. "We have faced many species with starships." "Not like this," Vextar insisted. "The humans were hiding their true capabilities from us. Look." The screen changed to show new data. "Their fleet is moving with perfect coordination. They have technology we never saw before." And they. A young officer burst into the room. "High Commanders, emergency report." "What is it?" Draz demanded. "Human ships have appeared simultaneously at every major Zentari military installation across our territory. They bypassed all our early warning systems." The room fell silent. Then all 9 high commanders began speaking at once. "Impossible. How did they find all our bases? Our stealth technology is the best in the galaxy." General Vextar closed his eyes briefly. "This is what I was trying to tell you. They are coming for their children, and nothing will stop them." High Commander Draz stood, finally understanding the gravity of the situation. "Where is Lieutenant Krall's ship now?" "At the research facility on the moon of Zentari Prime, our homeworld," Vextar answered. "I've been trying to reach him, but he's ignoring all communications." "Then we must get those human children back ourselves," Draz decided. "General Vextar, take your fastest ship. Retrieve the children before the humans reach our homeworld." Vextar saluted and turned to leave. As he reached the door, Draz spoke again. "And Vextar, if you fail, we may all pay the price." As if to emphasize his words, alarms began sounding throughout the building. On the main screen, a message appeared. Human ships had entered the outer defense perimeter of Zentari Prime. The hunt was closing in. Frank Diaz looked out the window of the stealth ship as they approached Zentari space. The stars streaked by as Lieutenant Nancy Weber expertly piloted the ship. "How much longer?" Frank asked. "Dr. Winter's tracking system says we're close," Nancy replied. "The Zentari moon, where they're holding the kids, is just ahead." In the ship's small meeting room, Sandra Mitchell studied the latest intel on her tablet. Her face suddenly became serious. "Everyone, come here now," she called. Frank, Ethan, and Nancy gathered around her quickly. "I just intercepted a communication from the research facility," Sandra said. "Krall is planning to start testing on one of the children today. Some kind of brain scan." Frank's jaw tightened. "Then we move now. No more waiting." "Agreed," Ethan said, checking his medical kit. "But we need to be careful. If they know we're coming, they might hurt the children." Sandra nodded. "I have a plan. Look at this." She showed them a map of the facility. "There's a back entrance here. While the main team goes in the front as a distraction, one person can slip in the back." "I'll go through the back," Frank volunteered. "Nancy stays with the ship. Ethan and Sandra, you create the distraction." They all nodded. The plan was set. Back on Earth, Admiral Clark stood in a room filled with screens showing the positions of human ships throughout Centauri space. She turned to an officer. "Status report," she demanded. "All ships in position, Admiral. We have surrounded every major Centauri military installation. The Centauri are panicking." Admiral Clark nodded. "Good. And the special team?" "They've reached the moon where the children are being held. They're preparing to move in." "Excellent. And the Prometheus protocol?" The officer looked nervous. "Ready to be activated at your command, Admiral." Admiral Clark looked at the largest screen, which showed the Centauri homeworld. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that." The Prometheus protocol was humanity's last resort, a plan developed for extinction-level threats. No one wanted to use it. On the Centauri moon, Lieutenant Krell prepared his equipment. A small hospital bed sat in the middle of the laboratory, with strange machines around it. "Bring in the oldest female child," he ordered. 2 guards left to get Katie Johnson. Krell smiled to himself. Soon he would understand the secrets of human development. His name would be famous throughout the Centauri Empire. Suddenly, alarms began blaring. A guard ran into the room. "Sir, we've detected an unidentified ship approaching." Krell frowned. "Impossible. This facility is hidden." "It's there, sir, and it's not responding to our signals." Before Krell could reply, the facility shook with an explosion. In their holding room, the children felt the tremor. Katie stood up quickly. "That might be our rescue," she said. "Everyone remember the plan." The other children nodded. Peter held up his homemade device. "The camera is disabled. They can't see us now." "Good," Katie said. "Lily and Owen, stay with the twins. I'll check the door." As Katie moved toward the door, it suddenly opened. She stepped back in surprise. General Vextar stood there, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "Do not be afraid," he said in careful English. "I am here to take you home." Katie didn't move. "Why should we trust you? You're one of them." "No time to explain," Vextar said. "More humans are coming. There will be fighting. I must get you to safety first." Another explosion rocked the facility, closer this time. Vextar looked over his shoulder nervously. "Please," he said, "I am trying to prevent a war. If you die here, humans will destroy my world." Katie looked at him carefully, then nodded. "Okay, but we stay together." "Of course," Vextar agreed. As they moved toward the door, the sound of gunfire echoed through the facility. The hunt had become a battle. Ethan Peterson set off another explosion at the main entrance of the facility. Guards ran toward the noise, exactly as planned. "That should draw their attention," he said into his communicator. "Sandra, how's your position?" "In place," Sandra replied from another part of the building. "I've taken out 2 guards. Moving toward the security room now." "Frank, what's your status?" Ethan asked. Frank Diaz moved silently through a back corridor. "I'm in. Following the building plans. Should reach the children's location in 2 minutes." What none of them knew was that the children were no longer in their holding room. General Vextar was leading them through service tunnels, trying to reach his ship. "Stay close," Vextar told the children. "These tunnels are not used often, but we might still need others." Katie Johnson walked beside him, watching his every move. Behind her, Lily Martinez helped the Baker twins, while Owen Phillips brought up the rear. "Why are you helping us?" Katie asked Vextar. The alien general's 4 eyes looked sad. "Because Krall was wrong to take you, and because I don't want my people to be destroyed." "Would humans really destroy your whole world?" Owen asked from behind. Vextar nodded. "For their children, yes. Our old stories call humans the destroyers. Now I understand why." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Krall was panicking. He ran into the security room just as Sandra was disabling the last guard. "Stop," he shouted, pointing a weapon at her. Sandra turned slowly, hands raised. "Lieutenant Krall, I presume." "Who are you? How did humans get here so quickly?" Krull demanded. We're parents, Sandra said simply. Now, where are the children? Krull laughed nervously. You think I would tell you? They are my research subjects, my path to glory. They are kids, Sandra replied. And you've made a terrible mistake. While they talked, Sandra was secretly pressing a button on her wrist device, signaling her location to the others. In the service tunnels, Vextar suddenly stopped. There's someone ahead, he whispered. A figure appeared around the corner, weapon ready. It was Frank Diaz. Stop right there, Frank ordered when he saw Vextar with the children. Vextar raised his hand slowly. I am General Vextar. I am helping the children escape. It's okay, Katie said quickly. He's been helping us. Frank looked suspicious but lowered his weapon slightly. Where were you taking them? To my ship, Vextar answered. To return them to Earth. Their conversation was interrupted by a message from Sandra. Frank, I found Krull in the security room, but he's got a weapon. Need backup. Where's the security room from here? Frank asked Vextar. This way, the alien general replied, pointing down another tunnel. But the children. Stay with them, Frank ordered. If you really want to help, keep them safe until I get back. Frank ran down the tunnel toward the security room. When he arrived, he found Sandra and Krull in a standoff. It's over, Krull, Frank said from the doorway. Your own general is helping us take the children home. Vextar, Krull said in disbelief. He's a traitor. No, Frank replied. He's smart enough to know when he's made a mistake. Krull suddenly lunged for a control panel on the wall. If I can't have the human children for research, no one will have them. Sandra saw what was happening and fired her weapon, but Krull dodged. His hand hit a large red button. Self-destruct sequence activated, announced a mechanical voice. 5 minutes until detonation. Frank tackled Krull to the ground. Turn it off. I can't. Krull laughed. No one can. Sandra was already at the door. We need to get the children out now. As alarms blared throughout the facility, the race to escape had begun. And somewhere in the tunnels, 5 human children waited with an alien general who was trying to save them. And his own world. 4 minutes until self-destruct, the mechanical voice announced throughout the facility. Frank Diaz dragged Lieutenant Krull with him as he and Sandra ran through the tunnels. This way, Sandra called, following the map on her wrist device. They rounded a corner and found General Vextar with the children and Ethan, who had joined them after hearing the alarm. We need to get to the ships now, Frank said. This whole place is going to blow up. Vextar pointed to a door. My ship is through there, on landing pad 3. Our ship is on pad 5, Ethan added. 3 minutes until self-destruct. Frank made a quick decision. Vextar, take Krull with you. We'll take the children on our ship. Krull struggled against Frank's grip. I won't go. My research is over, Vextar said firmly, taking hold of his junior officer. Katie stepped forward. Wait, General Vextar helped us. He should come with us. Before anyone could respond, a section of ceiling collapsed nearby, blocking the path to landing pad 3. 2 minutes until self-destruct. Now what? Sandra asked. All of you, come with us to pad 5, Frank decided. There's room on our ship. They ran together through the shaking facility. Parts of the walls were falling and fires had started in some rooms. Owen Phillips tripped over debris, but Vextar quickly picked him up and carried him. 1 minute until self-destruct. They finally reached landing pad 5, where Lieutenant Nancy Weber had the ship ready. The engines were running. The door open. Hurry, she called from the cockpit. Everyone rushed inside. Frank counted heads quickly. All 5 children, his team, Vextar, and Krull. The door closed just as the final countdown began. 30 seconds until self-destruct. Nancy pushed the engines to full power. The ship lifted off, speeding away from the facility. Behind them, the countdown reached 0, and the entire facility exploded in a massive fireball. Everyone okay? Ethan asked, checking each child for injuries. They were all safe. Lily Martinez sat beside Vextar, looking at him curiously. Your skin is blue, she said simply. Vextar nodded. Yes. And yours is not. But we're not so different, are we? Lily asked. The alien general's 4 eyes blinked slowly. No, little one. I'm learning that we're not. 1 week later, all 5 children stood with their parents in a large meeting room at Earth Defense Headquarters. Admiral Clark entered, followed by several high-ranking officers and General Vextar, who was now the new Zentari ambassador to Earth. Children, Admiral Clark said, you showed incredible bravery. Earth is proud of you. Each child received a special medal. Katie Johnson stepped forward after receiving hers. What happened to Lieutenant Krall? She asked. General Vextar answered. He has been removed from duty and will face punishment for his actions. And the Zentari people? Owen Phillips asked. We are learning, Vextar said. For thousands of years, my people believed that strength came from conquest. But humans taught us something important. True strength comes from what you protect, not what you take. Admiral Clark nodded. Today, we sign a new peace treaty, not just between leaders, but between our peoples. On a table sat a document. As the adults prepared to sign it, Peter Baker walked up to General Vextar and handed him a drawing. What is this? Vextar asked, looking at the picture. It's a Zentari and a human holding hands, Peter explained. I drew it for you. Vextar carefully took the drawing with his 3-fingered hand. For the first time, the human saw what might have been a smile on his alien face. Later that evening, Lily Martinez looked out her bedroom window at the stars. Her mother came in and sat beside her. Are you okay, sweetheart? Maria asked. Lily nodded. I'm not scared of aliens anymore. Some are good, some are bad, just like people. Her mother hugged her. That's a very wise thing to say. Mom, Lily said, still looking at the stars. Do you think I could be an ambassador someday? Like General Vextar? I think you can be anything you want, her mother replied. Above them, the stars twinkled in the night sky, no longer just distant lights, but homes to peoples both strange and familiar, dangerous and kind. And among those stars, 2 species had learned a powerful lesson about each other, all because someone had made the mistake of taking human children.